good morning, good afternoon, greetings, hello, bonjour, mahaba, and all that other wonderful stuff. I am the Football Otaku, and welcome to my review of Matchday 6 of the CAF Champions League. Well, not all the games, but 3 games in my point of view that mattered. The full-time whistle has gone off. We now know the 8 teams that will be playing in the knockout stage. But before we go there, we have to talk about in my point of view, the 3 games that really mattered, which is MC Alger visiting Yanga, Sundowns versus FAR Rabat, the entire situation in Group B, and Orlando Pirates visiting Al Ahly. If you like the video somehow, you can give me a like, share, a sub, all that wonderful stuff, and let's get the show on the road. You know, now I know how it feels when you go to the movies these days. I know it's only my second video, and you may not know about me, but the one thing you will know about me is I love movies. I love movies. I love going to the movies. I love, movies. Not the kind you see on Netflix, like actual go to the cinema movies. And now I know how it feels to follow the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now I know exactly how it feels, because I built this match to high heaven. On the podcast last week, the Let's Talk African Football show, I hyped this game to high heaven. I said this game was going to be absolutely phenomenal. It was going to be a joy to watch. It was going to be beautiful. It was going to be fantastic. It was going to be thriller minute. It was anything but. I mean, this is probably the worst game of football I have seen in 2024. This was the worst game of football I've seen in 2024. And seriously, Yanga looked dulled. They really didn't attack. I mean, they had their chances as he's key, but he was marked out of the game. A lot of Yanga's influence was marked out of the game, and MCLJ just got their tactics right. They got their tactics and their discipline spot on. And sometimes in these tricky African away days, that's all you need. You need to be disciplined. You need to be able to mark your opposition out of the game, and that's what MC Alger did. They stood very firm, and they were good enough to go through. I mean, but seriously, this game lacked in entertainment value, and MC Alger never really looked troubled. I mean, maybe in the beginning, in the first 10-15 minutes they did, but they were able to weather that storm, and they were able to comfortably progress. But for all the negativity I've talked about this game, I'll give it some positive, especially on MC Alger's side. That was absolutely phenomenal on how they stood firm. I mean, going away to Tanzania, away to Benjamin Mkapa, one of the hardest stadiums to visit in Africa, probably outside of North Africa, the second hardest stadium to visit outside of, first before being Loftus. MC did very well. Maludia Club did very well to weather that storm, and now they will be in the Champions League quarterfinals for the first time since their last appearance in the competition in 2021. This is great for them, great for their club, great for their ownership, as they're owned by a few fuel and oil should we say tycoons have come together to get ownership of the club, and they've done very well in the CAF Champions League, and they will be flying the flag for Algeria, especially after the disappointment of CR Belouizdad. For young Africans, I mean, this was a disappointing campaign. We expected so much more from Yanga, especially with Galmundi and keeping a lot of their stars. I even predicted that they would get out of this group, but they failed. I feel though with Sead Ramovic things will get better. I mean, the last 3 games of the group stage, they were getting better, but I felt that slow start really did catch up with them at the end, and sadly now they will be out. But I feel though with Sead Ramovic things are starting to get better at Yanga, and I feel that they will be back in the Champions League pretty soon. This won't be the last we see of them, not for a long time. But that was my opinion on that game. Congratulations, Felicitation for Maludia Club, and commiserations, young Africans. Well, Group B had a pretty dramatic dramatic end. Well, it was supposed to be dramatic when Mamelodi Sundowns hosted FAR Rabat. At the same time, Raja Casablanca were home to AS Maniema Union. Now, let's talk about the Raja game. And I skimmed through a bit of this game, didn't really concentrate a lot on it. I was more on watching the Sundowns game, but I was watching this game as well because, to see the results. And to be honest, the Raja didn't really apply themselves. I mean, this game was there for them on a platter. Maniema Union went down to 10 men inside about the first half an hour. They were down to 10 men. You really felt that Maniema Union had the opportunity Raja, had the opportunity to really pile on the pressure, and their goal came from a penalty. It came from a penalty just before the break. I felt that if I was Raja, I would have just gone for it. I mean, we're behind the 8 ball. We don't really have destiny in our own hands, so let's just go for it. Let's absolutely go for it. Let's try, let's attack, let's go absolutely crazy. Try to score as many goals as possible, and then just sit, hope, and pray for a situation change in Pretoria. I felt that it was very limp from Raja. They created opportunities, but not clear-cut opportunities, and they didn't really cover themselves in glory enough to get the result. It's a real shame for Raja Casablanca, especially with the amount of hype they had last season. I mean, winning the Pretoria Pro, essentially doing the domestic double, winning the league and the cup, going invincible, something the league had never seen before, and a lot of changes in power left. Apparently, he's now just got the job at JS Kapile. And after that, just seeing all of that, it's just truly disappointing, and we expected so much more from Raja Casablanca, and it's a real shame that they're now out of the competition after having so much hype about them. The other game in Pretoria, I mean, Sundowns did just enough. I think you really have to say Sundowns just did enough. It wasn't all pretty, it was just enough. And I'll tell you what was so funny about this game. Sundowns take the lead in the 13th minute. Peter Shalulile with the goal, a well-worked set play, something that it's clear that they worked on the training ground. But here's where things get real funny. It's in the second half where Sundowns, who are winning the group, they're winning the group at this point. FAR Rabat are already through, but they're winning the group here at Mamelodi Sundowns. And they really gave the game back to FAR Rabat. FAR Rabat really worked well enough to get back into the game, and not only did they get back into the game, but they score. And the reaction was, you could tell that these guys were not necessarily throwing the game away, but you could tell that Sundowns really weren't showing a lot of impetus. I mean, FAR Rabat were finding their opportunities, finding their angles, and eventually found their goal. Ball played in, it's something that was so preventable, and slotted right into the corner. And Ronwen Williams, who was the best goalkeeper in Africa, doesn't really make much of an effort to dive. He dives, but doesn't make much of an effort to keep the ball out. He just falls over. And after that, the game just peters out. Sundowns are like, we've got the point, we're going through, doesn't matter what happens in Casablanca. FAR Rabat are like, we're winning the group, so what is their impetus to do more? So the two teams just had a 10-minute kickabout, and just let the game peter out, and, well, I'm happy, you're happy, we're happy, and see you guys in the knockouts. For Sundowns, I mean, this has been a pretty difficult group stage. It hasn't been much, it definitely been much more difficult than it was a couple years ago, where they used to top the group and used to get big results against the likes of Al Ahly and co. But they've gone through, and I think in the group stage, it's really all you need. You don't need to be flashy with your results. Just do the bare necessities, and you'll be over the line. For FAR Rabat, very impressive. For a team that hasn't played this competition since 2006, for a team that I don't think any of their players have Champions League experience, for them to top this group that features the team that went invincible in their own domestic league last season, and for the team that is perennial Champions League participants in Mamelodi Sundowns, especially at the latter part of the competition. This is a great result for FAR Rabat. And sidebar, I actually saw some of the FAR Rabat travelling supporters, and they really look like they had a good time in South Africa. I mean, it's the first time the club has been to the country, probably the first time those fans have ever been to South Africa or Pretoria, and they had a lot of fun. I mean, there was a nice video on Instagram of the FAR Rabat supporters just having a good old time at a local bar / restaurant in Pretoria, in the, should we say, the more glamorous half of Pretoria before the game. I mean, I don't know about you, but I would have loved to have been a customer during that lovely Sunday afternoon. They took selfies with local fans. It was really a fun time, and FAR Rabat really enjoyed their trip to South Africa, not just for the football but off the pitch as well. So that's how the group looks. We have FAR Rabat, who are top and undefeated. Sundowns finished second. Raja disappointingly third, and Manyema Union, I mean, don't let the tally fool you. They were very competitive. They gave teams a lot of good games, and I hope to see them soon in the CAF Champions League. They really didn't look out of place for a debutant side. Could the hype be real? Could the hype be real? I mean, we heard so much about Pirates and how they were going to shock the continent. I know some people have been spreading some Pirates propaganda, and yes, they're already through, and yes, they had started the campaign with a pretty big statement win, and they're in the group stage with a statement win. I mean, say what you want about Al Ahly. I mean, it was a bit of a B team. It was an A/B team, which is what I kind of expected. A lot of their stars didn't start. Shenawi didn't start. I think Ali Malul also was not there as well. I mean, and for Al Ahly, like I was saying, they've been through a very busy period this December. I mean, of course, their league is now starting to ramp up, the Egyptian Prem. They were away at the Intercontinental Championship. They lost in the semi-finals to Pachuca from Mexico. They've had this Champions League group stage. So the fixtures have been piling up for Al Ahly, as they always seem to do. And they decided to not necessarily take it easy, but they decided to at least go to try win the group up against a Pirates team that had a lot of its starting players there. A lot of the starting lineup was there. I think only one change was made. And if I can say one thing, yes, it was not nearly a strong, 100% strong Al Ahly, but this Pirates team are definitely living up to the hype. I think Al Hilal are the best team on the continent, or the best in the Champions League. Definitely been the most impressive, Al Hilal, but this Pirates team are going to be the most watched. I mean, in the group stage, we were all saying, in the beginning of the group stage, we were all saying about Pirates, are they going to be good enough? Is this Pirates team good enough? Is this Pirates team going to be able to handle the experience of going away on the continent? This is a team that has never really played Champions League before. These guys are young, very young, and they are going to be playing away in Algeria, away in Egypt. They're going to be having these challenging away days, and they're going to try challenge at home domestically. They haven't had a season like this in a very long time, and this Pirates team have been impressive, and they were pretty impressive in Cairo. They weren't perfect, but they were pretty impressive and had done well enough. Rele Mofokeng, of course, with the first goal. I love how he always just seems to be at the right place at the right time, most of the time, especially in the box. He was really waiting for a mistake. The defense from Al Ahly was less than desirable. I mean, the two defenders just eliminate each other, and then next thing you know, Rele is in and he slots it away. Then Al Ahly equalized again over Pirates' mistake. Dion Hoto passes to practically nobody, and then all of a sudden they're in, and Al Shahad scores. He lobs Sipo Chine, but then the winning goal as well orchestrated. Gilberto has been given the goal. I mean, it was Mabasa's header, but Gilberto seems to be the one to bundle it over the line, so it looks like it's going to be his goal, and Pirates win the group. And as much as for me, winning the group isn't necessarily important. I mean, I read a very interesting stat. Out of the last 7 Champions League winners, 4 out of those 7 didn't win their group. Then again, Al Ahly have been to the last 5 finals, and I think out of those 5 final appearances, once they won the group. So the Champions League becomes a very different competition when we get to the knockout stage. It becomes what it always has been since the 1960s in its foundation. It was always a cup competition. It is now a cup competition. But here's the thing. Pirates thrive in cup competitions. I mean, Jose Rivero has shown himself to be a cup guy. Like, this guy thrives off cup competition. I mean, and knowing that they've reached that stage of the competition, I feel Pirates are going to be very watched. They're going to be very, very monitored, especially by the neutrals, and they're going to be a pretty dangerous team heading into that quarterfinal. Maybe they're going to be a team some guys are going to want to avoid because they're so young, because they're able to handle that pressure, or they're definitely shown to be able to handle that pressure, and no one might want to come to Orlando. It's going to be very, very interesting. Again, a fantastic result for the Buccaneers. It's their 3rd victory away in Cairo against Al Ahly. No team on the continent has ever done that, and they're going to be very fun to watch. For Al Ahly, I wouldn't really press the panic button yet. Again, you know, they seem to thrive in the knockout situation, just as they've done so many different times over the years. So I wouldn't really press the panic button yet. I would be disappointed, but they seem to know how to get things done when the business time shows up. So it'll be very, very interesting. But again, great result for Pirates. Great feather on the cap for Jose Rivero, someone whose reputation has definitely grown on the continent. And it's going to be Pirates are going to be a very, very, very entertaining team to watch in that last 8. And that's it. That was my very short wrap of Matchday 6 of the CAF Champions League. Of course, I only really talked about the matches I felt that mattered, but we now know the final 8. It's been an absolute joy. It's been an absolute joy ranting to you. Again, don't forget to like, to share, to sub, to comment, and we'll be seeing you soon. From the Football Otaku, it's check you on the flip side.